Broken Weapons.
And brand new games.
It's Monday the 11th of December and this is the last screenplay patch notes for the year.
I'm Steph.
I'm Nick and this is the last patch notes of the year, so let's get into headlines.
Sea of Thieves has been given a release date. March 20th is when you're going to be able to get your first mates together and shanty your way across the high seas. Very close to my birthday. Thank you.
You're welcome. I organized it. Happy birthday. This is my surprise to you. The more that I see of this game, the more that I very tentatively have touched very small parts of it, the more I'm just like, yes, this could possibly be the big streaming game. I mean, I can't imagine many games that are more Steph focused when it comes to a multiplayer kind of game than this.
Totally. And also I have a lot of friends who, like I have quite a few friends who aren't big gamers who are really excited about playing this. And I'm excited for that as well because it feels like it's gonna be the kind of game that brings people together.
Accessible.
From like all walks of the life that I lead.
Yeah, it's just one walk, just hanging off the edge of you. But from a game that seems accessible to a game that very much isn't, Destiny 2 just cannot get out of the headlines, and this weekend was a weird one. A new gun in the Curse of Osiris content, the Prometheus lens, is pretty much broken and will blow you up in PvP in about a second. Bungie confirmed this is a bug and not a feature, and it would not be fixed until the 1.1.1 patch, which comes out tomorrow. So to even the playing field, over the weekend, they made the gun available to everyone.
I was just about to say, they should have just run with it and said this is a feature, but that sounds like that's what they're doing by making the gun available to everyone.
So it kind of is. So Curse of Osiris came out, this gun, it's just, it basically shoots out a beam of light energy.
Right.
And when you're playing in PvP, like when you're playing against someone else, you have to zap them for less than a second and they just explode.
Right.
Like it's just so overpowered. And so people were freaking out because the Trials of the Nine, which is very competitive PvP modes, happen over the weekend. And it's like, this has ruined it. And it's so unfair because it's a random drop, right? So it's like some people have the gun and others don't. So they said it's a bug, we know about it, but it can't be fixed until the next patch that's coming. So they let Xur, the weird guy with the face tentacles who turns up and sells legendary weapons and stuff, exotic weapons to everyone, he sold it over the weekend so that everyone could go buy it. So I went and bought it and I went into PvP and I ruined people in a second, but then I myself got ruined. In fact, all of PvP Destiny over the weekend was just like a Daft Punk show. It was just lasers shooting everywhere and people just die, which I assume happens at Daft Punk.
There's something kind of wonderful about that. When you have a kind of like game-breaking weapon and they're like, look, until we fix this, go nuts, have fun, chaos reigns!
Yeah, I mean, I think it's actually a good way of dealing with this, given like the Curse of Osiris content has not been very well received. Destiny 2 is always being talked about in a way as like, it's shit and Bungie aren't listening to us. I feel like this at least is one of those things where I go, yeah, if you're going to have a ruinous game, gun in the game, this is a fun way of like letting that gun exist.
Yeah, for sure. Well, moving on, and Bethesda have an important message regarding single-player games. Teaming up with OG Wonder Woman Linda Carter, Bethesda launched a campaign at the Game Awards called Save Player One. With the increase in popularity of online multiplayer and games as service, and Bethesda slashing the price of a bunch of single-player games by 50% this week, one can't help but wonder if single-player games are indeed a dying breed. I mean, do you think single-player games are going out of style?
No, they're fine. They're gonna be fine. We've spoken about this many times, and I think that, like, ultimately, the interesting single-player games will survive, for sure. Bethesda, I can't see ever not making, like, they might go and make multiplayer games as well, but like, you know, big open world sort of stuff, this is their bread and butter, the kinds of things that they...
What do you think was the motivation behind this then? Because I mean, do you think they're genuinely worried, or do you think they just wanted to
I feel
sell a bunch of games for cheap and were like, this is a cool way to do it?
I think you got it. I think it's also, it's just tapping into like a conversation that's happening right now.
The need to save single-player gamers.
Can we just talk for just 1 second about Linda Carter in this video?
She was great. She's very sassy.
She was very sassy, but I was like, there were lines, particularly like near the end, there were lines where I was like, I don't think she actually knows what a video game is. Cause like she was saying things where I was like, I don't believe that you have ever heard some of the words that you're saying right now.
For the price of just a few Nuka-Cola Quantums.
Very strange.
This is completely unrelated, but like tangentially related.
Yep.
Once they brought out Buzz Aldrin to promote a Halo game, and I got to interview. It was one of my first gigs that I ever had.
You got to
I
interview Buzz
interviewed
Aldrin.
Buzz Aldrin, but like obviously like I work on a video game show, so it was kind of like had to make it about video games. I couldn't just be like, what's space like? So I'm trying to like tie the questions back to like video games, and I'm like, what do you think makes a good video game that's set in space? And like he had no idea, so he would just be like, the thing is about the moon. And he would just kind of go off on a tangent, and I was like, cool, so if you were to be in a video game, what kind of character would you play? And he'd be like, and the surface of the moon. Like,
Oh, God.
It's just heaps weird.
Well,
so
man-
none of them have any idea, but they get paid a lot.
They do get paid a lot, and that is the important thing. All right, moving on now, it's time for discussion time. I can't believe you spoke to Buzz Aldrin.
I know.
Give us a discussion time, Buzz Aldrin stuff.
Discussion time on the moon.
There you go. All right, in discussion time, we had last week the Game Awards and PSX with their big reveals, new trailers and that sort of thing, some game announcements and some first looks at stuff. We thought we'd just go through at some of the bigger stuff, our favorite things, and just discuss it. My first one that I've got here, Death Stranding. I am so excited for this game because I really just hated Metal Gear Solid 4, but I loved Metal Gear Solid 5.
Right.
But the previous Metal Gear Solid games, I'd only sort of dipped in and out here and there. I'd never really finished one before 4. So I had no affection for the lore and the world and that sort of thing. So when everything got weird, I was just like, all of this, I don't understand why this is so weird, and even though most people still don't understand why it's so weird, I'm excited for this because this is a Kojima game that is like fresh as I imagine we're gonna be able to get from him, and I can jump in from the ground floor of the weirdness and understand it from the beginning. Understand it.
I mean, I feel like it's taking itself very seriously, and it looks like a bit of a wank to me. If I were to borrow from our previous system of classification, I would say curious, pumped, curious.
For me, I think there's a difference between serious tone, maybe, or subject matter, and taking itself seriously, because I think that while it's all very dark and I guess self-serious, at the same time, it's also so ridiculous that I don't know how it can take itself seriously.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't like the whole Kojima, like when he walked out on stage at PSX and people are just like, like, I'm just like, oh, just let the man be a man. He's not a god, because he's actually a pretty terrible storyteller. But I saw something over the weekend on Twitter, which I loved. I retweeted it. Kojima, back in March, tweeted out a picture of him playing with Lego, saying, he said, "I'm not playing around," then in brackets, "part of my job." And there was these little Lego figurines, and they're in the position of this scene that the trailer they played at the Game Awards.
You think he storyboarded it out with Lego first?
He did. This is the thing from March, where there's like a ship that's on the ground and someone trapped under it. There's a baby over there with Daryl, and then the other guy with the thing over here, and it's all Lego. How cool is
I want
that?
to see the Lego version of this game then. Then it wouldn't be taking itself seriously at all.
I would watch that. What's the next one we're excited about?
Witchfire. This game looks beautiful.
Did you play The Vanishing of Ethan Carter?
I did. That was a very slow-paced, kind of thoughtful game though, and this looks not.
No. I agree with your analysis. How cool was it using basically the reveal of the developer of the fact that it was The Vanishing of Ethan Carter and the guys who made Bulletstorm? That was the twist in this trailer, was like, it's this game that you think it's gonna be a walk 'em up, and then no, it's actually like from the people who made one of the cooler first-person shooters in the last 10 years.
Yeah, that was really awesome. I have to say though, the first thing, you know, as soon as I see anything that's set in a kind of fantasy landscape, I get very excited. And then when someone pulls out a gun in a fantasy landscape.
Oh, you get very righteous.
Oh, it's just, I'm a bit of a purist, so I got excited, and I was like, it's not that I'm not still excited about it, but I was like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was.
Can I argue something?
Sure.
You can't be a purist about a fantasy world because it doesn't exist. Like, a fantasy, like, there's no, so, like, bear with me. There's no fantasy world for there to be rules of what can be in a fantasy world. Oh God, I've really made you upset because you're doing that thing that you do when you don't make eye contact
I think
with me.
there
Look
needs to be grounds for staying in line with particular systems of lore around fantasy and kind of And
Why?
because that's just the way it is.
That's just the most boring thing in the world.
I do, like logically I understand.
That's
I do.
so funny. The third thing that got announced that I was excited about was From Software's new game. So pretty much nothing was revealed. There's like a apparatus. It looks kind of bony. It looks like a cross between a pulley system, maybe a torture system. There's a lot of blood on a piece of rope. And that's it. That's like pretty much everything we saw from that trailer. People are saying it could be Bloodborne 2. It could be a new Tenchu game, which From Software's parent company owned the patent to. Or it could be Shadow Tower, which From Software made in the 90s, which was like a very boring dungeon crawler.
Do you have a preference?
Well, I have no affinity for Shadow Tower or Tenchu, so I don't really care if it's that. Bloodborne 2, I don't think it's Bloodborne 2 because when you look at Bloodborne is sort of like Gothic European style thing. It was kind of like London-ish, but this had a very Asian feel to it. There was text on, like written on parchment in the background. It was all vertical. It looked like sort of you know, maybe Japanese writing or something. It looked fake, but you know, that style. And then the music was all very I felt like Asian influenced as opposed to Western influenced. So I would like to see something new, I guess, because I always like when games come up with new worlds.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for this because I did get into the Dark Souls series and I'm keen to start afresh on something like that as well. What about you?
Let's talk about the game that I'm most excited
You don't
about.
give a shit at all!
Not really, no. Okay, Valley of the Gods. Let's talk about Valley of the Gods.
Yeah.
Campo Santo.
I am excited because was an entire trailer about two women just taking a nice picture.
Oh man, it was temples, it was mystery, it was danger, but most importantly, it featured two characters, which means we're gonna get more of that incredible character development and relationship building that we saw in Firewatch.
Do you reckon that this is 1, co-op, 2, you play as both? I can't remember, in the trailer, were you always...
I don't feel like it will be co-op. I could be wrong. I would be pleasantly surprised if it is, but I don't think it is. I think maybe you'll play as both. But I'd be very interested to see who they're casting, because for me, Firewatch was so perfectly cast. Because you just, despite the fact that we never even saw the other character, you got such a clear sense of who those people were and how their relationship developed over time and just the conversations that they had that really kind of built those relationships and as they revealed more things about each other. And that really was what that whole game was about. Like, forget the rest of the story and the things that he was doing. It was really about those two characters, and I feel like that's something they do so well. And so I can't wait to see how that's gonna be presented in Valley of the Gods and which voice actors they'll choose.
And also, I mean, Assassin's Creed came out, and so it's kind of watered down this a little bit, but I love the setting, because we don't see too many games, except for obviously Assassin's Creed now, in this kind of, like, Egyptian looking thing.
It looked totally Egyptian, and it looked like it was dealing more with kind of curses and magic and
archaeology.
And archaeology.
Which is very exciting to me. I love any archaeological adventure. I'm very on board with unleashing all the terrible ills that are hidden beneath the sands. No, I'm a big fan, and see, to me, this is a perfect example of one of those things where it's like, single player is fine. Because this sort of stuff is coming out. Like, this is gonna be magical. You know it's gonna be great. Firewatch was great. Fuck the haters. The ending was perfect. All right, now it's time for things you can play very soon.
It's Monday the 11th of December, and here's what you can soon play. Right now you can download the Monster Hunter World beta on PS4 and slay monsters on a global scale. Once again, you take the mantle of hunter for the Research Commission, which is of course just a thinly veiled excuse to massacre large creatures for their blubber to make soup. The 5th installment in the Monster Hunter series is due out in January next year, so if you want to play it before then, now's your chance. On the 12th, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds comes to the Xbox One. Securing a console-exclusive window for PUBG just before Christmas is about the only good move Microsoft have made this year. Welcome to the murder party, Xbox. Also on the 12th, the 2007 classic Okami is getting an HD re-release. For its time, the PS2 action-adventure game had some of the most striking visuals featured in a game. Now this HD remaster gives all that art new life with 4K support across Xbox One X, PS4 Pro, and PC. Bethesda wants you to leave this reality behind with Fallout 4 VR. Unlike the Doom VFR game made specifically for VR headsets, Fallout 4 VR is just HTC Vive support for the game you know and tolerate. Some systems have been tweaked to support your wobbly head, but really this is just a ploy by Preston Garvey to get you to jump back into Fallout 4 and help new settlements. And finally this week, 'tis the festive season, so why not go make friends with your neighbour? Unless your neighbour is this guy. Hello Neighbour is a stealthy puzzle game which asks you to sleuth through your neighbour's home to uncover his dirty little secrets. What are you up to in there, weirdo? That's what you can soon play. What are your picks? Let us know in the comments. So not a lot new this week, really. A lot of re-releases and new platform releases and things coming out in VR and all sorts of stuff. But if I were to pick...
Which, when you say it like that, sounds like a lot, but it really wasn't.
Yeah, but like nothing new.
Yeah.
Like we're not a lot of new games.
Not a lot of new.
If I were to make a pick, I would say Hello Neighbour. We had a lot of fun playing that.
Oh god,
And
so much fun.
I just love robbing people's houses.
You do, and you're pretty good at it. It's almost a blessing because these sort of smaller indie games, you know, this year, if they come out, they're generally getting smashed with like 30 other things that are worth playing. This is, Hello Neighbour has very much a clear window here to just be experienced for a week by people. So I think that is probably my pick as well, though I will say that I am keen to today try out the Monster Hunter World Beta because I am really curious what that game is like. I played a little bit of Monster Hunter on the 3DS and I enjoyed what I played, but I was just like, this is too big for me, and it's too big on too small a thing. The PS4, it feels like much more like a big sit back, enjoy this world kind of thing, and this is a good way for me to play it and know if I'm just gonna be wasting my money or not. So that's what I'm excited for. What are you guys looking forward to? Let us know in the comments. Now it's time for prize time.
It's not actually prize time. We have no prizes. There's no prizes until Thursday.
Yeah, that's right. But what you can do is go to the Facebook page and vote on your choice for the Screenmate prize entry for the year. Here's what we're doing for the rest of the week. This week online, we'll be Twitch streaming tomorrow afternoon. We'll have our Game of the Year chat online this week as well. So we are having our Game of the Year episode this week on TV, but our online version will be much more in-depth about the games that we love and also, you know, kind of the games that we didn't.
Yes, but on Thursday, Screenplay, the TV show, will be on your TV for the last time this year.
Last time. This year.
It's our Game of the Year special, and that's it. Nick, Miles, and I crown our favorite games of the year, and you guys have picked yours, and we'll find out what that is. Tune in at 7:30 p.m. on Thursday on 7Mate.
You can follow Screenplay in all of our socials here, and details are in the description below.
Well, that's it for the show today, and for patch notes this year. However, of course, we have one final clip of yours to play us off.
That's right, Travesty James is finally getting the recognition he deserves and slamming down a three-pointer.
Science will reveal the truth.
I might need this later.
Thanks for sending that in, Roblo Staple.
And thanks to you guys for all the patch notes love this year. We've loved making it. We've loved discussing all of the hot topics and games with you guys.
100%. It's been awesome. Thank you so much for supporting Screenplay all year. This is like the first of the staggered weekly goodbye for the year. So we'll be seeing you on live streams, like we said earlier, tomorrow on Twitch. So there's two, wait, no, is that right? All right, we're out. Love you.
See you then.
Love you? I don't know. I just said a word. I just said words.
That's, you know, it's a collective platonic love. It's fine.
No, it's purely sexual for everyone. Hide in the fridge.
It's funny because he's shorter than us.
It is
So
funny.
it's like getting caught by me and I'm like,